Hey there, it's your Sassy Southern Grandma, Cindy. Glad to have you back with us this week, and I have a little heart-to-heart to talk about. That can be a tender subject, but hopefully we can discuss some things that will be helpful. There's a lot on the internet and as well as YouTube about adult children cutting their parents off for many, many different reasons. And it's very heartbreaking for the parents, sometimes heartbreaking for the children as well. But we'll be talking from a parent's point of view today because that's what most of us are. And if you have adult children, things can get tricky sometimes. And we have to be aware of what our part is, what their part is. We're going to talk about what causes this, what not to do, and then talk about some things that you can do that would help towards healing and reconciliation, and hopefully using some grace and some wit and some mercy with ourselves and with our kids. First of all, why do these things happen? There's a ton of reasons why these things happen. Sometimes adult children, even young adult children, older adult children, will cut their parents off seemingly to the parents suddenly, but when you get down to it, it's really been a long time coming. Sometimes there's a long drawn out argument or fight. Sometimes there's a years long disagreement that causes a child to say, okay, I've had enough, I'm not speaking to you anymore. I'm not coming to holidays, I'm keeping the grandkids from you, I don't want you in my life anymore. That is devastating. And while I haven't had any of my kids completely cut me off, I have had some disagreements with them. I have had some differences of opinion. I have had some times that I didn't talk to one or the other for a while, not really out of choice, but out of giving them some space. So one of the first things that you'll find if you look into this is children, when they grow up, sometimes look back at their childhood and learned what other people went through or didn't go through, and realize that a lot of their problems as an adult stem from things that happened as a child. And we, a lot of times as parents, don't see their childhood the way they did because they're seeing it from their point of view. Maybe they feel like we were too harsh in discipline. Maybe we yelled too much. Maybe we were too overbearing or too strict, or whatever their reality of what they experienced is their reality. And sometimes that's just something they can't get past. A lot of times children will come to their parents and say, this is what I felt growing up, and the parent just says, oh, that's not what happened, I don't remember it that way, and push them away. And that can really cause a child to shut down and not want to have anything to do with you as a parent. But if as a parent they come to you and say, this was my experience, I feel like it's really done some damage to me in my life and I'd like to talk about it, you have to be open to that. Their experience is reality to them, just like your experience is. As the generations go by, what's considered abuse in one generation is considered discipline in another. What's considered too strict in one generation is considered way too lenient in another. What's considered too lenient in one is considered strict in another. It's just the way that society shapes the way we raise our children and the way the people that are around us shape that. Another reason that adult children may distance themselves from parents is they feel like they were not allowed to grow up in your home. They feel like they had a lack of boundaries, they had a lack of ability to make their own decisions, that we as parents were very controlling of everything about them. I have some of that with my parents, where I feel like I was not prepared to be an adult because I was not allowed to make a lot of decisions on my own. Anything from what to wear to where to go or who to be friends with or where I went to school or what I read, a lot of those decisions were made for me. So when I came out into the adult world, I had been very sheltered and didn't really do well with making decisions. And so as my children grew up, I started as little kids. I'd give them 2 outfits and say, which one of these do you want to wear today? I tried to correct what I felt was something I was missing in my children. And hopefully, as adult, mature people, we can do that. We can take what was lacking or wrong as we feel it in our childhood and make it better for the next generation. So then as they got older, I let them make more and more important decisions while they were still in my house, so that I could be there as kind of a safety net to say, okay, can you see how this decision probably might not have been the best one? And use it as a teaching moment instead of saying, you'll do this because I said so, which is pretty much how I was raised. As I mentioned before, another thing may be just a whole toxic environment, a toxic situation where every time you talk to this adult child, it ends up in a fight about something, that you can't seem to agree on anything. And at some point, most of the time, one or the other, the child or the parent, is going to say, I can't do this anymore. And a lot of times it is the child, because parents are not as likely in a healthy family situation, are not as likely to cut their kids off and say, I'm not speaking to that one anymore, because that's not our nature as mothers, especially, and fathers that care about their kids. Even as adults, we're not that quick to cut them off. But sometimes adult children have to distance themselves. Sometimes they have to cut it off and say, I can't enter into this disagreement constantly, this constant quarreling, this constant fighting, when nothing seems to get resolved. And in that situation, you kind of have to understand their side of it. In every situation, you kind of have to understand their side of it. But is that the thing that's going on? Is it a constant conflict that they've decided they just don't want to engage in anymore? Sometimes it's different lifestyles, different beliefs, different ways of living. Maybe they have come from a very conservative background and are now, as adults, have turned into very liberal people in their lifestyle, in their politics, in their... Right now is a very, very charged time as far as politics is concerned. Very divided in our country, and that can affect families. And that's not anything new. It happened in the Civil War, families fighting against families. So that's something that is really prevalent these days, is parents who are so staunch in their belief system and unwavering, which can be a good thing, but can also alienate your adult kids who may believe things differently than you do. It can be anything from their lifestyle, how they dress, how they present, how they who they choose to be with, who they choose as a spouse, how they raise their children. Could be totally different than the way you believe is the right way. And that's a situation where you have to be willing to open up your eyes a little bit and see things from their point of view. Sometimes it's a specific thing that happened where a parent may have hurt their child and never apologized. Or if the apology was lame, if it was a pseudo apology, not really sincerely being sorry for hurting your child, if that apology never comes, that will distance an adult child from you. If you can't admit, I did something that I know hurt you and I'm sorry, with no excuses, no reasoning, no support of why you did what you did, just saying, I'm sorry, I don't ever want to hurt you. If that apology, a true apology, never comes, that can really distance a child from you and sometimes cause them to cut you off altogether. Now we come to things that parents shouldn't do. When we're hurt by our child cutting us off, when we don't understand or haven't even tried to understand why they're no longer talking, no longer coming to holidays, as parents, we can get hurt. And sometimes we focus more on our hurt and not on the hurt that we may have caused our child. So there's many things that we can do right, but there's things we can do wrong as well. The one thing that I heard as a teenager is, after all I've done for you, you went and did this.
Great. After all I did for them.
That is not an apology. It's not you're playing the martyr. Don't be a martyr in the situation and say, I've sacrificed everything for you and now look what you've done. You've come back to hurt me when all I did was everything I could for you. That's not going to cause any reconciliation. It's probably going to cause more division, cause more separation. to say, I did everything right. Why do you think I did anything wrong? Being a martyr playing the martyr does not cause anything good to happen. Don't try to force contact with your child. If your child has made it clear they don't want any contact with you, there are so many, you see it on movies and TV and in real life, where parents will call and call and call, and they will try to maneuver through the grandchildren to get in touch with you, or they will text endlessly and just carry on this whole conversation with themselves about what you did, why you're doing this, why are you alienating me, I've never done anything to you, whatever. And that also only serves to push them further away. You can't come at people who don't want you to come at them. That's in any relationship, but especially between a parent and a child. If that adult child says, I'm taking some space, I don't want to hear from you, honor that. Give them that space. They need it. They need that space to take care of their end of it and their side of it, so that that can soften them up to come back later and do some reconciliation. And probably the worst thing you can do is talk badly about them to someone else. Don't talk to Aunt Janie and Grandma Susie and Uncle Billy about what your adult child is doing to you that's hurting you so bad. That is not going to accomplish anything, and it will get back to them. You can't go on Facebook and make vague book posts about something that you're trying to make it sound like it's just a general thing. If your child sees that, they'll know it's about them. And that's only going to push them further away. You have to have some respect. Have some respect for yourself. Have some respect for your child. Don't, as they used to always say when I was growing up, don't air your dirty laundry. And it's so easy to do now with the internet and social media. So easy to just throw something out there and say, I hope she sees that. I hope she sees how bad she's hurt me. That is not the place. It's not the place, and it's not the time, and it's not the way to try and fix things with your child. So here's the good part. What's the part that we can do? The most important first thing we need to do is look at ourselves. Look at ourselves and our part in whatever it is your child's saying. Look at the situation. Try to step back outside of your own hurt feelings and look at the situation from a bird's eye view. Think about what your child has said. Listen to what they've said that's been hurtful to them. Right now is the time to kind of put your feelings over here to the side. Think about, what did I do? What did I say? Is there truth? There is some truth in what your child's saying. There's very few circumstances where somebody, an adult child, just makes up a reason and cuts you off. You have some part in it. It's a relationship. So each person has some part in it. So be sure and reflect to yourself without contacting them and harassing them. Look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Do some journaling. Do some self-reflection of, okay, times are different now. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I did do some things that I shouldn't have done. What's my part in it? The second thing is respect their boundaries. If they've asked you to have no contact, have no contact. Let them breathe. You can love them. You can still love them from a distance, but give them some room to breathe. Just stop and think. This is not the end of the world. It's not the end of your relationship. You still love them, and likely they still love you, but there are things that need to be reconciled between you. But it can't be done if you're constantly badgering them. So respect their boundaries. The third thing I've kind of already talked about, apologize sincerely. When you do have a chance to talk to your child, after you've done your self-reflection and realize what your part might have been in this, say to them, I am sorry I hurt you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry that I hurt you. I didn't mean to. At the time, I had no idea that that was hurtful. I'm sorry. Not, I'm sorry you feel that way, or I'm sorry you got your feelings hurt. Say you're sorry and mean it. Apologize sincerely. Focus on your own personal growth. Whether or not your child comes back to you, and of course we all hope that that's the end result, but whether or not your child maintains contact with you or not, you need to be the healthiest person you can be. You need to face the things that you need to face while they're doing the same thing. You need to learn to grow as a person, grow as a parent. Grow as an adult friend of your child. Grow as a person who understands other people's feelings and not just focused on your own. If you need to, find a therapist. There are therapists that focus on family estrangement and family relationships that can help you with some things that will help you do the reflection you need to do. Read books, watch YouTube channels, find out any information you can from other people who have been through and successfully reconciled all these things with their children. I did run across one YouTube channel that I do not recommend, because if you've ever even looked up this situation of estrangement on YouTube, you've probably run across this lady who everything is her child's fault. She doesn't admit to anything she's done wrong, and her whole channel is based on her being the martyr. You definitely don't want to consume any of that content, because that's only going to reinforce the I'm the parent and I'm right and they should understand that I was doing the best I could. And she did not have any apologetic tone whatsoever on her channel. So if you run into it, you'll recognize it. Leave the door open. You can always, without badgering your child, you could write them a letter. I wouldn't say barrage them with letters, but you could use snail mail and write them a letter just to let them know you love them. You hope that you can reconcile in the future. Maybe put in there that you're seeing a therapist or that you're trying to understand things from their point of view, but just a short something to let them know that the door is open, the porch light's on, they can come back anytime they want. Don't ever just shut the door, slam it, and say, that's it, I'm done with you. You know in your heart you don't want to do that, even if your feelings are hurt. And you want the child to know that there's always somewhere for them to come, that they can always come back to you and try and mend those relationships. And that, above all, have hope. These things, most of the time, work themselves out. Most of the time, families that get broken up over something end up coming back together. Fathers and sons and mothers and daughters all tend to, in the end, gravitate back to each other and try to figure things out. Try to find a way to come to a middle ground. And maybe you just have to agree not to talk about certain subjects. Maybe you just have to start seeing each other a few times a year or once a month or something, just to kind of ease back into learning how to relate to each other in a healthy way. Whatever that takes, it might take 10 years, it might take 10 months, but don't ever give up hope. Don't ever give up on your kids. Don't ever give up on the fact that you love them, they love you, you started this life together, and there's always a way to make things come back together. If this is something that has touched your life, that touches your heart, that you've seen either in your family, that has happened to you and your children, have you been able to work it out? Are you still estranged? Maybe you're the one that had to cut off ties to someone and work your way back. Share those things in the comments. Share your stories to let us know that, we're not alone in this. Everybody goes through a lot of the same situations with their grown kids. So it helps to have a community of people that you can talk to and say, this worked for me, this did not work for me. That you would be able to share your experience and help other people. And be able to come in the comments and ask questions and say, this is my situation, how can I do better? And we can help each other in that way. So be sure and share in the comments. Thank you for joining us today. Subscribe to the channel and be sure and tune in next week when we talk about parents cutting their children off.
I'll come back now. Yeah.